if you think back, like, did you ever do field sales? I know you.
Oh, never. No. In fact, when I first got my license and I was discussing my vision of what I wanted to do in the industry, I probably spoke to 4 or 5 different companies, and all of them, except for 2, were doing something with telesales. If that was my only option, if field sales was my only option when I got my license, I would be in a different industry. I wouldn't do it.
What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins, and today we are bringing back on the channel, man. I've been getting so many requests about, bro, I want to learn how to sell final expense over the phone. Well, I believe the individual I'm about to introduce you to an interview that was on the channel probably about a year or so ago or a little longer, and is back, is one of the best in the country at it. She's also incredibly humble, so she's not going to brag on herself too much, but I will do it for her. Last time we talked about her story of writing $300,000 over the phone in her first year, or really $300,000 total. And then now her agency is doing, with Tailored Legacy, is doing $450,000 every single month in premium, and has a bunch of agents that are really successful and crushing it. I love her training. Her YouTube channel is taking off. And so if you're looking for more content, you can definitely check it out. So please welcome back all the way from Cali. She was here recently for a retreat, and now we are having her back on the channel, Dana Nesen.
Hey, Cody. Thank you so much for that introduction.
I love it. I'm excited to have you back. This is such a huge topic when it comes to selling over the phone and final expense, and y'all do it better than most. You really do.
I think we do a pretty good job at it. I have to say, one of my favorite things about being in Missouri, I think I shared this with you and Lauren, is I got to experience for the first time a Bass Pro Shop. And the biggest one by that in the country. It was incredible. I think people are going to laugh at me. And also, for the very first time, I experienced what burnt ends are. Never heard of that before.
Whoa.
That was my very first time ever hearing it. That's and awesome. Then number 3, I just wanted to share this with you.
Please.
In the Midwest, there are more custard places than there are Starbucks. We don't have custard out here. So
wow.
those are the 3 things that I experienced in Missouri, and it was awesome.
That's amazing. Thank you for the recap. I'm super excited for that. I appreciate you sharing it, because we're bringing 8% here. We're going to have a bunch of, 1,000+ agents come here to hang out. And you're right. Bass Pro, the place is insanely big. As far as burnt ends, my mother-in-law, that's the only type of barbecue she will eat. And it's the burnt ends of a brisket, as an example. I think they do it for different meats. And then custard, Andy's Frozen Custard started here. Now they have hundreds of locations, I believe. I'm looking at Dylan. They're all over the place. Maybe not in California yet. But yes, we have crazy. We have a ton of churches, Chinese restaurants, cashew chicken was started here, all kind of cool facts. But we are not selling near as much final expense over the phone as you are.
We do sell final expense quite a bit. I mean, it helps that it's the only thing that we sell. So we don't really have a choice. But
correct. But you know what? I think that's awesome. I think to piggyback on that, I think this is a really way to kick off the podcast. I was actually talking to our team this morning. I think why we have started to lean in and do well or I see, individuals like yourself or different people that have done well in our space. They do something that is simple. It becomes systematic and then scalable, right? Yeah. And y'all have something that is extremely scalable. Why do you think it's important to focus on one product, no matter what it is, but in your example, final expense?
I don't know if it is for everybody. I think there's definitely people that thrive off of having a wheelhouse of options for their clients. And there's a huge camp that will argue otherwise. And I don't want it to be a who's right and who's wrong.
Sure.
It's more about finding what works for you and then maximizing that. So just so we're clear on that, for me, I think it makes a tremendous more amount of sense to be really, really good at one thing rather than, being okay at a lot of things, and really just targeting the people that fit your mold, and then being okay letting go the ones that don't fit. right? I mean, that's why volume is so important when it comes to lead generation. I mean, you are now an expert in lead generation yourself.
Thank you. Yes, definitely trying to do KABOOM.
Kaboom.
Which came up so many times over the weekend in the retreat, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I loved hanging with, we loved hanging with you and Shell, and appreciate you guys being here. If you think back, like, did you ever do field sales? I know you.
Oh, never. No. In fact, when I first got my license and I was discussing my vision of what I wanted to do in the industry, I probably spoke to 4 or 5 different companies, and all of them, except for 2, were doing something with telesales. If that was my only option, if field sales was my only option when I got my license, I would be in a different industry. I wouldn't do it.
So explain that. No, I think that's great. I think that's okay. Obviously, post COVID, like it's more mainstream and normal than it ever was, 5 or 10 years ago. Why was that the case for you, where you're like, I just wanted to do phone?
Well, that's all I've ever done. I've been doing telesales since 2004 in 2 other industries besides this. So when it was time for me to transition to another industry, it was telesales first, the widget second. So
got it.
It wasn't that I had a heart for life insurance and I needed to find my place in it. It was, I want to create a telesales opportunity for myself. What is going to be the best fit for what I'm looking for? And then it just happened to be final expense insurance was the best fit.
Yeah, that's unique, because most agents typically come into it and they're like, okay, they're like become product focused. Then like, okay, do I want to sell over the phone or in person? Or like, okay, what about how do I get in front of people? Like you did it. Maybe it's backwards to the rest of the industry of how they come in, but for your skill set and your experience, it was actually the right way to think. And all the agents that are coming to your organization now, you'll only do phone.
No, Tailored Legacy still has a very big field sales division. I just don't run that, right? So Adam Hale, the owner of Tailored Legacy, still has a bunch of managers that run the field. They do, $1 million a month in production in the field.
Wow.
I do, I'm not even at $500,000 yet. We're getting there.
You're getting close for sure. Yeah. I have a lot of respect for Adam, what he's accomplished, what y'all have done. Like he's been around the game for a long time, built a very impressive operation. I've always heard, really good things, and have had really good, interactions with him. So a ton of respect there. I think that's important. Is some, like, we have a ton of new agents that'll listen to this podcast. And I think it's important to realize that, like, the people you do business with, is, in my opinion, more important than anything else.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And as far as finding my place in this industry, it really did help that I knew what I was looking for. I wanted telesales. I needed a partner that I could trust and shared my vision and would fund the vision that I had, right? But trusting them and seeing the same vision is everything.
Yeah.
People try to recruit me away all of the time, and there's nothing anybody could say or do to take me away from what we have built together. And that says everything.
I love that. Yeah, I can feel that. I've heard that many times, and I respect it, because everybody always thinks that, like, okay, there's all these right products, or there's these right ways to do business, or like over the phone or in person, or like you have to do marketing this way, or like, you know what I mean? People get very like stern and confident, like no other way will work. This is the best way, or, captive, career, independent, like all these different, names that get thrown around in the industry. I believe you can succeed anywhere. I believe you can. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like 92% fail, and it's kind of funny. This is kind of like, most people wouldn't agree with this, but I do. Like, I think at the end of the day, it's far more about taking care of your family and making an income than all these other freaking crazy rules that gets placed on our industry.
I feel the same exact way. And that's what I share with agents that are interested in joining us, questioning, well, why don't you do term? And why don't you do IULs? And why are you only with Lincoln? And you just got to stop the noise for a second and think about, because this is how I went into it. It's not about any of that. It is, what type of income do I want to make so I can support my family? And I like to call it a widget because that's what it is. Will this widget give me the outcome that I want? And if the answer is yes, then who cares about anything else? Nothing else matters, right? Because
correct.
If 1 + 1 = 2, then that's your answer. But if your 1 + 1 is -1, then you're going the wrong way. Just because someone says that that's the right way. We had a discussion about this when we were in your office, that it's so emotionally driven in almost the same way that like food is, right? Like people are so passionate. You have to eat carnivore, you have to eat vegan, you have to eat, this, and this. And it's so similar with the life insurance space that it's like your way or no way. And everyone gets so driven by that. And it's just like, I'll take a step back and realize that it can be done in any way as long as you apply yourself. Listen to your upline.
Yes.
There's people that are successful in every space.
They are. Yeah.
All you have to do is follow their blueprint.
And literally every company.
With every company. Exactly.
Yeah. What are things that you would like to share with new agents that maybe don't understand the landscape, or they're like trying to find a home, or they're trying to make sure that, or they're not succeeding and they're struggling and they're going face to face and they don't want to, or maybe things you didn't know when you started that you would love to share now? Hey, I wish I knew this. Are there some of those tips floating around just in general from a career standpoint before we get into like some telesales tips?
I mean, I think that what's the most attractive about this industry is also the most dangerous, which is being an independent contractor and having that freedom and flexibility to come and go as you please. I think that the majority of people still thrive in a structured environment.
Yes.
And without that, if you're just handed like a business in a box and someone says go, I think that is the biggest contributing factor to the failure rate. And that is exactly why before I even got my license, I wanted to find the structure that I had been used to in a W-2 environment, but as an independent contractor. And it really didn't exist. So that's what I created. And that's what we now have, because I do feel that the majority of agents are, what did we call it? An intrapreneur. We call them an intrapreneur. Like, I'm an intrapreneur.
Yeah.
I think, right? Because I'm not taking the big financial risk that most people who own agencies are, but I'm still independent.
Yep.
And I don't have to clock in and clock out. I don't have to request vacation time, although I still have the ability to earn an uncapped income.
Correct.
So I think for new agents, it's going to be the most important thing to find a mentor or a company or an IMO or whoever that is that has an actual structure.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to help you succeed.
100%. Yeah. I couldn't say it any better myself. Like, it's so true that a lot of people need a system. Like, what's your thought on, I don't think you have this philosophy, but like a lot of companies have the philosophy of, okay, we're going to recruit 1,000 and we're really going to hope that like 80 do halfway decent, and that maybe we have 10 really good people one day. Like, I feel like that's like the thought pattern behind it. And then it's like heavy recruiting, which is okay, right? Or people become a number, or most people flame out and don't make it, right? What's your thoughts on that for those that are like looking at different places and seeing that?
So my answer might surprise you.
Okay.
Because I don't think that it's a thought process. I think it is the reality. I really do. Because from what I've found in my experience, especially the way that I have my team set up, it still takes a volume of people to find the ones that will actually implement what you're teaching, and so that they'll succeed. So I do definitely. but we're not recruiting in thousands. I mean, we don't even have that. We don't have thousands of, people a month that come in hundreds. Yes. But I think it is still the reality. I think it's still for every 100 people that come in, you might have 10 that stick. But I think it has less to do with the opportunity and more to do with just human nature in general.
Yeah, and there is a lot of recruiting opportunities with lack of structure. Hey, here's carriers, here's writing numbers, here's just go get in front of people and sell insurance, and there's like not a lot of thought to it. But I love that
the failure rate's even greater.
True.
But it still ends up being it, as much as I don't want it to be, as much as I think everything is perfect, people still find a way to fail.
Yeah, they do. And you are that type of individual that's like, I want it to be as good of an opportunity and as helpful and as simple and as systematic and as detailed. Like you've even launched a new training program that like really helps agents be able to make money without having to get really good at closing yet.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. We were just talking about it with my management team last week. Like we pay for talk time, right? We have talk time bonuses for our agents.
Yeah, which is wild. I had never heard this.
For our new agents, this is even crazier. So for our brand new agents who come in under our, what we call an agent and training program, their only job is to tee up interested leads or clients for our managers who were top producers to come in and take over the call and basically sell it. So they're actually getting paid talk time to listen. They're not even talking, right? They're talking for like 8 minutes, introduce a manager. The manager is on the phone for 30 to 45 minutes and the agent gets paid for the talk time.
Wow.
So it's like you're getting paid to listen is really what it should be a listen bonus.
So the manager's talk time of them doing the rest technically counts towards towards
them because the manager is barging in on their call.
Got it. And they're staying on and listening.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh gosh, wow. That is cool. Yeah, that's a very different approach than get in, close business, make money, or fail.
Well, when you're on a free lead program like we provide, we have every incentive to make sure that the leads that you're taking have a higher percentage of closing.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I created that, because prior to that, I tried to do the best I can to screen the agents and do role plays and make sure they were ready. But that was really time consuming and draining, and it wasn't perfect. I'd still have people come in, they'd go rogue on the script and they would do the wrong things, and we'd still lose out on blown leads and opportunity. So at least this way, I can say, hey, just tee them up. My managers will take over. You're going to listen and learn the entire time. People are closing 2 sales on their very first day and getting $100 in a talk time bonus. They're like, life is great.
That's awesome. That's cool.
So yeah.
So what is so like kind of walk me through that a little bit. So they're supplied leads for free. They call the leads, read a script, and then introduce a manager that closes the sale.
Exactly.
That's cool. And how long does that program last typically?
It's based on production, and it's based on production that they do independently. So it's kind of as long as they need, but we'll say for like the first 30 days that it's mandatory that you ask for help as often as you can. Because we know that first 30 days when the highest percentage of people will bail. And so after that, and it can be sooner, but once they start feeling comfortable to take that lead on their own without the help, they have to sell 10,000 of production without help to be moved up to like the next tier. And then an additional 37,000, almost 40,000. So about 50,000 total to like graduate from the agent and training program. And then they no longer need those managers to come in and help them. It usually takes about 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's the progression when you look at it? Like what do you notice from a development standpoint, from a skill standpoint, that an agent just gets better at in a lot of different ways to be able to progress through that and end up being a good producer.
You know what I really love about it is that it really lets them focus on one thing at a time. So if they know that their only job is to get people on the phone, start a conversation, get them interested in what we have, then the only thing they have to get really, really good at is objection handling in the first 30 seconds, right? Like that's their only focus. So they master that. And then once they start hearing the sales process over and over and over and over again, and our management team works together, so they get to hear it from 3 different people, depending on who jump on their calls. So then they're learning different styles, right? And they're starting to see how people are navigating through the script in different ways, because not everything is going to follow a script verbatim. Right. So I love that they just get to master bits and pieces rather than, okay, you're with a new company, you have a new system, you have a new script, you have new managers, you have a new tele-app process, a new e-app, like rather than having to do all of it at once, you get to focus on little pieces at a time. Yeah.
I noticed that too. And when we hung out at the retreat, like it made me think differently about a lot of things, you know, in a ton of ways, just because of how much you are truly, everybody says they want to help agents succeed and make money, but like the extent that y'all are going to actually help agents succeed and make money shows how much you care, how important it is, and the fact that they can really progress through this. And I like hey, focus on one thing over and over and over and over and over again. I love that concept.
And I think the agents feel good about what they're selling too. That's important. I mean, I know that there's a lot of negative speak about just selling one product with one carrier, which is another, I think, what's the word I'm looking for? Not misnomer, but
that was literally the word I was thinking about. Misnomer. I'm like, she's not going to say that word.
It's stupid is what it is, right? Because you really don't know what you don't know. And when you're just hearing things from people, you know, in the industry without ever experiencing yourself, I would never judge someone else's opportunity without really taking the deep dive myself. But there are so many people that love to judge what they don't know. And
why is that? Why is that?
I don't know.
So true.
Right? Yeah. It's just the way that a lot of people are wired, you know, just same with there was so many things that people feel that they're so passionate about their one thing that the opposite has to be bad.
Yeah.
That's not always the case.
No, I mean, it's all good in some way, right? Yeah. It's easy to be cynical towards what somebody else is doing if it's not the same way that you do it, you know.
And I don't think that what we do is best for everybody. I don't think that everybody needs the type of hand-holding that we provide. I think it could be too much for some people, right? But that is okay. Like, I'm not here saying it's my way or no way.
Yeah.
So I think everybody needs to have a little bit more of that thought process.
I respect that too, a lot. Last question. Out of everything that you teach and that you do, if you had to sum up, like, an agent needs to learn to be good at this to eventually master telesales, out of all the different pieces and things, is there one, talk about keeping it simple and one thing, this whole thing, is there one thing that you're like, if you will focus on getting better in this area some way? I'm trying not to like lead you too much, right? I want you to choose.
I already have my answer.
Perfect.
And it has nothing to do with sales.
I like that.
And it's really, if you can just get really, really good at being disciplined, staying in your seat and sticking to a schedule and doing the same thing over and over and over again, allowing yourself to get the rejection and failing your way to success, the discipline is the number one thing that new agents need over and above. All the other stuff will come, but it's the discipline.
Yeah, it is so true. Because you get, I've started saying it a lot. You get better you learn by doing, and you get better by doing. And if you can show up, like Dana's saying, and have discipline and consistently put forth the effort, and especially in your program, I mean, goodness gracious, like I would say almost 100% of agents will eventually make six figures if they will just show up. And
they just have to show. I mean, the best comparison is if you wanted to learn any skill, right? The piano. You're going to sit down at the piano and play Mozart in your first week? I mean, it's silly. I mean, unless there's a robot that has fingers, like over your fingers, robot, and then they just start playing. That's basically what we're doing. We're basically allowing you to be Mozart in your first week, but you still need to practice over and over and over again to be independent and do it yourself.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep. That's all there is to it.
It's amazing how simple you keep it, but I love that that's the case. Two things. Tell us about your YouTube channel, which is exploding and growing really fast, by the way. And also, if they want to get in touch, what should they do?
You can find my channel at Final Expense Telesales, both on YouTube and Instagram. And you can DM me on Instagram. All my contact information is in the description of all of my videos. So awesome. You got to go to the channel and watch a video and click on a description to figure out how to actually reach me. There you go. Part 1. That's a big video. That one has like 17,000 views, I think.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. Phenomenal. I mean, for the amount of subs and views and all that with only a couple hundred videos so far is super impressive. But I've always been impressed by you in a lot of ways. Like you're very, I think if I think of like one thing to describe Dana Nesen, I would say intentional. Like you don't do anything without being extremely intentional in like why you're doing it. You know, like it seems like there don't seem like a lot of wasted air or space or time with you. You know what I really wanted to do today and I chickened out. What's that? Maybe we'll save it for next time. Okay. I wanted to bombard the interview and I wanted to say, you know what, Cody, nobody really wants to hear about me. You know, let's just role play. Ooh. Let's just give them some value. Let's just role play, you know, a final expense presentation, cold call, and don't even talk about me and what we're doing. But I didn't, I almost texted you too, but I was like, I don't know, maybe next time. So maybe that's a teaser. That is a teaser. I appreciate that. That's awesome. We're going to have to bring you back to do that. If you guys love that idea, vote in comments below. Dana, you are amazing. I love getting a chance to spend more time with you. And thank you for coming back on the channel and the podcast. Thank you, Cody. We'll see you at 8%. Yes, we will see you soon. Also, Thank you guys for hanging. Go check out Dana Nesen, Final Expense Telesales on Instagram. I tagged her on my IG story and on our YouTube channel. Also, too, we mentioned CABOOM earlier. If you made it this far in the podcast, congratulations. You can use coupon code YouTube to get 10% off your very first order at CABOOMLeads.com. You guys are amazing. Thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for pouring in. And use the number one thing Dana said and be disciplined. We would both love to see you be successful no matter where you end up or what you do. Thanks for hanging, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Adios. Thanks, Cody. Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you in there. I'm so excited for today's CA Power Player podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins. We got a special guest. He is back on the channel talking about how to sell life insurance from home. Here's what I love about this person. Okay, I'm telling you, this will be one of the best.